arsenal.
Yes, we have a hell of an arsenal, don't we?
We have a heck of an arsenal. And what is this show? What is inside? You know, for a long time, we have had the opportunity to bring you interviews, conversations with so many of wrestling's big stars. And now we want to sort of encapsulate those conversations and make sure that you are getting really, well, not dirt, not scoops, but the real inside story from the people who lived it. We know in this world of professional wrestling, especially in the internet world of professional wrestling, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of, but he said, she said, they said, he said, I was there, I wasn't there. And, well, let's just always go to the source.
It's always easier that way.
Is it?
Always easier, yes.
So thank you for joining us.
Isn't that like the buzzword, fact-checking? Is that the gimmick?
I can't get into that. It's going to set me on a tear I don't want to be set on. We are live on Fight TV. That's F-I-T-E, Fight. So thank you for joining us there. We're also live across our social media channels here on Thursday, April 2nd, David Hero. Well, Happy April. You made it through yesterday.
Yeah,
your shenanigans on primetime for April Fools were shenanigans, but that's just how you are.
But that's what it is.
Well, folks, we couldn't think of a better guest to launch this show with than a legend in the wrestling business and a man who has a lot to say. And we've had him on this program many a time before, and pleased to have him on again.
Well, and let's not forget, he's also a member of the PWR Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
From WrestleMania in New York.
Inducted in New York as part of WrestleMania 29, I believe it was. And without further ado, let's get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us live right now via Skype from Minneapolis, Minnesota, please welcome Barry Darsow, formerly known as many people, but most importantly, or most prominently, one half of Demolition Smash. Barry, how are you?
Damien, Dave, I love you guys, first of all. I'm doing really good. It's good to you guys on Skype. Good to hear from you, too. I appreciate you calling me.
Well, thank you. And, you know, we are in unique times right now with the quarantine and with the COVID-19, obviously. Not able to be in the same room at the same time, even though somehow or another I'm able to be in this bunker with him, David, on a regular basis. But
because I'm clean.
What a guy to be stuck in there with, right?
Yeah, right. But Barry, give us an update as to how you're handling this quarantine situation. What's going on in your life? We know you've got several different businesses that you're involved in and that you run. And what's going on in the world of Darsow?
Well, on January 1st, me and my business partner, we sold the company, and doing very well. And I'm going into the office 3-4 days a week. And in fact, starting next week, I probably won't be going in there anymore.
Really?
They're doing really well. And right now, they're selling a lot of nitro gloves and a lot of masks for the virus. And, so they're still in business, but having a really hard time getting the products to get them out to the customer. And in fact, Mount Sinai out in New York has been buying quite a few things from them, but just can't keep up with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And about weeks ago, I was up in New York for the event and a couple other ones. And then kind of before everything started, the virus started really spreading. And when I got home about 4 or 5 days later, then I heard they shut down towns right in Queens where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little bit worried, wondering if I ended up picking it up. You end up, shaking hands with thousands of fans and hugging them. I'm kind of one of those hugging guys. And I was trying to be careful, but when I got home, then I was a little scared to get out in front of her. So I kind of quarantined myself, and me and my wife have kind of stayed away from everybody. And it was hard staying away from Mom. She's 80 now. So I sure didn't want to say anything to her. But I am not getting the virus. It's been over 3 weeks. And we're binge watching all Netflix shows, all that kind of stuff. So,
have you watched Tiger King yet?
No, I haven't watched Tiger King, but we've been watching the Ozark. We just finished the 3rd season yesterday.
Yes, that is a great show.
I love it. So I say I'm kind of the luckiest in the world. My son, he's over in Michigan with my 3 grandkids and my daughter-in-law. So I don't go out there to see them, and we were all set to go. And now it's kind of like we better not go for a while. So,
yeah.
that's
Well,
my story going on right now.
Yeah, and the world is changing around us day by day, and glad to hear that you made it through and have made it through. And what's your favorite thing other than Netflixing and chilling during this quarantine, being stuck in your house?
Well, I'll tell you, after selling the company, I started going to the gym again and training, and I've put on probably 30, 40 pounds ever since my new knee. So I was just getting back in shape, and then they closed all the gym. So now me and my wife started the DDP yoga.
Oh, awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're getting outside walking, starting to bike, and, just trying to stay away from everybody to exercise. And, it's tough for me just to sit and do nothing because I'm used to doing them all the time.
Who would have thought Demolition or the Blacktop Bully or Repo Man would be doing yoga? That just blows. Now, I can see it as the hole-in-one guy doing it, but the other character's not a chance.
Hey, I'll tell you, I saw Dallas Page on the road. It's been probably 4 years ago when he was just starting this thing. And he says, "Perry, you got to try this." And finally, we're trying it, and we love it. So
Yeah,
I have to say I'm one of his fans for the yoga.
Yeah, it's great. Well,
But
and also you've got family. The wrestling tree has well, I don't even know what I'm trying to say there, but Dakota Darsow still wrestling in the business. Tell us what's going on in his wrestling career right now.
Well, when he was down in Florida and he was going, at Impact, that was a few years ago, and he called me up and he says, "Dad, what do I do? I'm supposed to get a contract here, and now, Hulk's leaving and Eric Bischoff is leaving." I told him, "Get out of wrestling." So he ended up getting out of wrestling and went to Michigan, and he went to the police academy, and he did incredible, and very proud of him. He worked a regular job and went to the academy, and through there now he has a job in the Roscommon Sheriff's Department, and he's a canine officer, and he teaches at the academy now. So he's really, really good man. I can't say kid anymore. He still gets in the ring every once in a while. Try to tell him to stay out, but it's in his blood. So
Yeah.
every once in a while he work a local show for Freedom or somebody down there.
Okay.
Electric Eric Freedom. Remember
Oh,
that
I
Joker?
remember that. Yes.
The hardcore hippie.
Yeah, I can't believe we're not at WrestleMania right now. Isn't it unbelievable?
It's fascinating, and that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you, having been involved and been a part of so many WrestleManias and so many memorable moments at WrestleMania. How does it strike you that WWE decided to go ahead with the event as planned and will be doing so now in an empty arena, basically, with no fans in attendance? How does that strike you? Is that the right thing to do?
Well, the right thing to do is have the show, all the people, because of the virus. So I think they're doing the right thing that way. But, not having the crowd and wrestling in front of the big crowd, it's be tough on all the guys.
Yeah.
But all the guys are pros. They can do it. It's just I don't know what that's like on TV. I watched one of the shows about a week ago, and they were cutting the promos ring, and without the crowd. To me, it's not the same. But
yeah,
it's new time now. You got to do whatever you can to get the show. The show gotta, what's that? The show must go on. Well, they got to have it on.
Yeah. Well, one of the big events that happens in conjunction with WrestleMania weekend is the WWE Hall of Fame, and I know we've talked about this, and you've talked about this in the past, but I want to just ask you direct, flat out, that as just such a major force in professional wrestling and in tag team wrestling as part of Demolition, how is it possible that Axe and Smash are not yet inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, yeah, I don't know. They're going to pick whoever they think at that time is supposed to go in. Just not the guys yet. So, it'd be great to be in there, and I don't know why, but there's so many tag teams out there that have been good over the years, and they're picking.
But Barry, let's be honest. There's never been one that's been the longest reigning tag team champion of all time.
Well, there might be a little bit of heat somewhere. Right? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Let's put all the heat on Bill. Is that fair to say?
Well, I've loved everybody in this business, and I know Bill has too. And I don't know who we've really upset. I suppose it has to be. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why we're not in there. But there's so many tag teams, and get in, you get in.
Well, has the conversation ever even occurred? Has there been inklings of an invite? Have there been feelers put out? Have you heard anything?
No. Gene Okerlund, one time, was out to dinner with him, and he says, "Barry, I've been talking about you." And I says, "Well, it's all talk. That's what it is." Right?
Is it fair to say that, Barry, that the last time you were back on WWE TV was when you came back as the Repo Man?
Yeah, and I think it was Houston, Texas, I think is where it was.
Yes.
And it was Battle Royal.
Yes, because you were up here for a Blizzard brawl. It didn't bother telling me you were flying straight to Texas after the show.
Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you, I miss those Blizzard brawls too.
Yes. Well,
one of those a long time.
We got them back in December 5th of this year. Maybe it's time to bring Demolition back one more time.
Oh, my mom's birthday, yeah.
Perfect. We can have a big party.
Yeah.
I think
you never know. Go ahead.
You may be diminishing your impact on tag team wrestling more so than you should be, but I will say, as I have said many a time, and as Dave said, we went ahead and inducted you guys into the PWR Hall of Fame back in New York several years ago. There is not a single tag team in my wrestling life that was more influential than Axe and Smash of Demolition. The music, the look, the feel, the matches, Mr. Fuji, the big time events. There is no way that a person can have a major wrestling Hall of Fame right now and not have Axe and Smash Demolition in it. It's almost lacks credibility without Demolition.
It's actually sacrilegious.
Well,
so we'll say it if you're not going to say it.
Okay, well, I appreciate, that's why I love you guys, I think looking at wrestling through blinders, you're seeing what there really is out there, and I think there's a lot of political things that go on behind the scenes. That's not really the wrestling part of it. Yeah. And I agree with you guys, but it's not to me or Bill to get into the Hall of Fame, and we would just assume be in your Hall of Fame. We're proud of that.
We're talking a lot about Demolition and Demolition Smash, but let's not forget, you've worked with everybody. You've worked with Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, the Macho Man, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect. I mean, the list of Mount Rushmore possibilities. You've worked with everybody under the sun that's ever drawn big money in the world of wrestling.
And you know what? It's funny that you say that, because over the years I kind of, I forget a lot of the stuff that goes on. I always tell Dakota, I tell him that I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I've been all over the world, wrestled some of the greatest wrestlers, and I've loved this business. Yeah. So yeah, it's been pretty neat to wrestle all those guys.
It's interesting. We talk about Demolition, and a lot of people may not realize that you were not an original member of Demolition. It was actually Moondog Rex, I believe, right?
Yes.
That had played the role of Smash, if you will, for a very short period of time, and then you came in and replaced him. Give us a little insight as to how you ended up taking that role.
Yeah, it was Andy Coffey and Bill Eadie. They were the Axe and Smash. And one of the first TVs that they came out as a Demolition, everybody's yelling, that's Moondog Spot or Rex or whoever it was. So right away after they came back and they said, this just going to work. And when that was going on, I was working down for Jim Crockett, and he just screwed me on payday. And he promised a certain amount of money, and I didn't get it. So I went in and ended up quitting my job down there. And about a week after I quit my job, Dave Hebner called me up, and he said, Barry, you want me to, put in a worry up in the WWF at the time? And I said, definitely. And Ricky Steamboat called me, and he says, Barry, you got to get a job here. So about a week and a half after that, all of a sudden the phone rings, and Vince is on the phone. He says, yeah, Barry, this is Vince McMahon, And I said, hey, Vince, how you doing? I never met him before.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I want to fly up and talk to you about a new thing that's going on up here. And I says, well, I'm pretty busy right now, but, let me check my schedule. And he kind of pauses. I said, yeah, when do you want me to come? So he says, I got a flight for you tomorrow morning. I'll pick you up and talk about it. So I ended up flying up to Connecticut. And he had it was almost like a cartoon character book with pages in it, where it had the Demolition look, and it didn't have a name or anything, and I never knew anything about what was going on or what it was. So he kind of explained it to me, and I had to kind of, really kayfabe, couldn't tell anybody about it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to sign a contract, and then he said, do you know Bill Eady? I said, yeah, I know Bill. I don't know him well, but I know him. And he says, "You would be your partner. Would you be okay with that?" And I said, "Definitely." So I told him that I definitely would like the job, but I need to get about 4 or 5 months off if I could. It was just war from, double shots every weekend and working, 4 or 5 years straight.
Yeah.
And he says, "Definitely." So.
Not many guys can do that. Not many guys can say, "Hey, Vince, yeah, I want to come in, but I want 4 or 5 months off first."
Oh, I was honest with him, because he kind of asked me what I would like, And I told him, I says, when I come back, I'll be ready to roll, He says, I just need a break. And so he says, you got it. And at that time, Bill was in Japan, going back and forth again. So it ended up working out really nice. And, I got the job. And the first day I came in as the Demolition. I walked in with Bill Eady, and I dressing room, and the first guy I saw was, Snuka, and then I saw Hogan, and then I saw Andre the Giant and Don Morocco, and I see these guys standing around. I'm shaking hands, going, "Oh cow, look at this who I'm with now," And I was 24 years old, I believe I was. So I was probably the youngest guy in the dressing room at that time, and being Bill really kind of put me on the where, okay, this guy's okay because he's Bill. That's kind of the it was. So I kind of fit right, and I was a young boy, and I didn't say a word. I just listened and didn't say a word to anybody, and just whatever they said, I did, and it ended up working out.
Yeah. Well, before that, I mean, was it Killer Khrushchev, right?
Crusher Khrushchev.
Crusher Khrushchev. That was down in the Crockett territories, and you had a good run.
Ivan and Nikita Koloff, working with Dusty Rhodes and the Road Warriors down there.
Yeah, well, we first started that. Nikolai Volkov was my partner.
Yeah.
In Mid-South Wrestling. And that's when I kind of started really learning how to wrestle, was down there. And then I ended up leaving there, and I went to Florida Championship Wrestling. Jim Neidhart, myself, and David Sierra, the Saint. We were partners down there, and then that went up to Crockett's territory after that.
Yeah.
So,
it's
great crew.
Obviously in the presence of champions, but you would become champions shortly thereafter after Demolition was formed. And one thing that always I questioned in my head was, I still remember when you guys turned on Mr. Fuji, or really Mr. Fuji turned on you guys.
And then
Yeah, he did. But it was so great. It was so well done. But it was so shocking as well. And one thing I always wondered was, how did Mr. Fuji make sense as the manager of Demolition? Because there was a little bit of a disconnect there.
Yeah, well, when we first came out, we had our first manager,
Johnny V.
Yeah, Johnny V. great guy. He kind of made it like a joke almost.
Yeah.
And we just told him that, this is more of a serious gimmick, and we're never going to get over if you're, joking in the interview. So it ended up being where told him, we said, we want to get Mr. Fuji as our manager. At that time, he was kind of the vicious manager heel.
Yeah.
So Vince listened to us, and that's Fuji became our manager. And he was actually a great manager because he told us what we did wrong in the ring, told us what we did, and he helped create us. So, Fuji was a manager too.
Interesting. So both in front of the camera and behind the cameras, Fuji played the role of truly managing the careers of Action Smash of Demolition.
Well, him being in the ring, he was a wrestler and managed the best wrestlers in the world. So it was a shoot manager.
Yeah, Fuji-san. How bad did it hurt when he hit you with the cane?
Oh man, he didn't hold. And a funny story. We got time for a story, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask you what is the best Fuji rib, but I think you read my mind on this one.
Well, I can't tell you some of the really good. But we were at WrestleMania in Plaza, and it was Action Smash against Martel and Santana. Mm-hmm. And the finish was where Bill was going to hit Martel over the head of the cane or over the back. So normally kind of doctor up the cane so it breaks a little easier. Mm-hmm. Well, Fuji ended up going and a real green cane would not break.
Oh no.
And we didn't know this, and at the end Bill came in, hit, I think it was Rick Martel back with it, and he held the right hand at the bottom, the left hand at the top of the hook is. He hit it, he was hoping it was going to snap. Well, it didn't snap.
Oh.
He hit Rick really hard with that sucker. So the whole thing was done. I mean, he almost broke Rick's back with it.
Right.
We came back and Rick was, oh, yeah, what the hell's going on here? And he looked right at Fuji. Fuji just was laughing his head. It was a hell of a trip. So Rick Martin must have done something to Fuji or something for Fuji back, right?
Yeah.
But
Demolition would dominate for so long in professional wrestling, and then we started seeing things evolve a little bit. In fact, a third member of Demolition would be added, and that would be the man known as Crush. And I, as a fan, when watching, and I want to speak for you, Dave, how you felt, but that was not okay. I'm like, whoa, no. Demolition is Axe and Smash.
Yes.
Smash is going to kick my stinking teeth in, because that's what he always told me. And this is Demolition. Now you're adding this guy
almost
who
waters
doesn't
it down.
fit to the team, which seemed to water it down. And was it before or after when he was the Hawaiian Crush?
He was the Hawaiian Crush after.
Okay. So either way, it just didn't feel right. But how did it feel to you? How did it feel to Bill to be now a three-man team of Demolition, and what you had built for so long, bringing a new person into that group?
Well, it was kind of a real tough time at that time because Bill ended up having health issues. So, we had, they booked these talents, like 6 months ahead of time. So, the Demolition and Smash is way ahead of time, events everywhere. And with Bill getting sick, we had to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
And Crush was a great guy and a good friend of ours. And, he came in a really, really tough spot. Because, like you said, it was Axe and Smash. No matter what you do, you bring somebody else in, it's just not the same.
Right.
So we did the best we could, and Crush did a great job, but really, really a tough situation to come on. We ended up having a lot of good matches and all that. That's kind of right when the Road Warriors were coming in too.
Yeah.
So with Bill getting sick and the Road Warriors coming in, it really hurt our angle with the Road Warriors. And I thought that they put the Road Warriors together way too soon with us, and it kind of the whole angle, and it ended up being the end of our jobs is what it ended up being. Yeah.
Yeah, they put you guys together right away and then did a bunch of 6-man tags with the Road Warriors and the Ultimate Warrior against Axe, Smash, and Crush all over the place.
It was a tough deal. We did the best we could, but we were on our way at that time, so we knew it. We were there for a long time and had a great run, and everyone's run ends sometime. It just happened to be at that time. So
yeah, but Demolition lives on forever with that Mattel toy line right now. There's Demolition figures all over the place.
I'll tell you, in every WrestleMania, and when that book comes out, where pictures are still in there.
Yes.
It's a lot more autographed.
So have you ever given the grandkids the Demolition Smash action figure to play with at Christmas time or their birthdays?
Well, I don't do that, but my son does them all, and when they go to Grandma Darsow's house, all over there to play with,
Gotcha.
But I always kept wrestling away from home. It's what on the road. That was what was nice about painting my face or wearing a mask for the Repo Man or whatever. People didn't recognize outside the business, which I didn't mind at all.
Yeah.
It's just thing at home,
You mentioned the Repo Man, and some people think that was a bit of a rib or a bit of a burial of what was Smash, but I, for one, loved the Repo Man character because it made so much sense, but it also didn't make any sense all at the same time for you to be doing it, but you did it so well, you embraced it so well. How did you make that transition from Smash to the Repo Man?
Well, that's why I always thought I was good, because Barry Darsow was nobody. He couldn't make any money, couldn't get over doing anything. But as soon as you put a character on Barry Darsow, then all of a sudden it's like a light turns on and I became that person. No matter what gimmick you gave me, I could do. And I was real proud of that gimmick. I had a great time. I wrestled top guys and I made some great with it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to become a baby face, and I wanted to go to hospitals and meet with kids. That was my ultimate goal that I wanted to do, and they never changed me to baby face.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that I talked to Vince about it when we started the gimmick. I said that I wanted to end up the Repo Man. I wanted him to be baby face and go out and do good things. The best guys end up being the best good guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've always, and it just happened, and then that's why I ended up putting my nose in there that time, and then I left it.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned being a babyface. Demolition spent a couple of years as a top babyface team, and that I believe it was a story with the feud with the Powers of Pain. But you couldn't quite walk into a hospital room with that leather gear and have the kids welcome you.
Yeah,
some rooms maybe you could walk into with that and be welcome, but not the hospital room.
It's funny right now. You go do these autograph sessions and you put your face in the hotel, and you walk down the lobby and go to 10 minutes away somewhere, and people look at you like, "What the heck's going on?" But when you're in New York, you just fit right in. Nobody even says to you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Folks, this is the Pro Wrestling Report. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and of course all over the world on Fight TV as well, FITE Fight. We're joined by Barry Darsow. You know him best as one half of Demolition, the man who is in the PWR Hall of Fame, should be in every wrestling Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us live wherever you are. Thank you, Barry, for joining us. Now, you talk about the Repo Man, but things didn't end there, because you would actually go to WCW for what I believe was the second time, and you were part of one of the more infamous matches that ever happened during WCW in 1995 at Uncensored, when you took on Dustin Rhodes in that what was the match called? The King of the Road match.
King of the Road.
The King of the Road truck match, yeah.
You were in the back, literally. You were in a trailer full of hay bales in a semi driving down the road having a wrestling match. And I remember watching it saying, "Sweet baby God, this is painfully bad." But watching it after, it's one of the best things I've ever seen.
I'll tell you, I had fun with that gimmick. That was, besides Smash, that was my favorite gimmick ever.
Blacktop Bully?
Because it was kind of to me. It was you know, when you're on the road, somebody screws with you on the road, you become a bull to them. You know what I mean? Not that I had road rage or anything, but for the gimmick, I did have road rage. And I absolutely love that gimmick, and they ended up ixnaying that thing after that match. And what had happened was when they were putting that thing together, they ended up having the helicopters, had cars with cameras in it. I mean, I don't know how much money they spent on that thing. They told us ahead of time that they wanted juice on us, right? So Mike Graham was our agent, and we ended up having that match, and there was blood in the match. And it ended up being, we got the blood without, and it just happened, because how do you
hard way.
hit a steel cage without having blood?
And the back of a moving truck driving down the freeway.
At 55 miles an hour. And,
eastbound and down.
and hanging the outside. And they ended up cutting out a lot of that match.
Really?
But anyways, it went on 65 mile an hour, or 65 mile round trip thing around this neighborhood that was just outside Atlanta. And after we went around the neighborhood second time, people were in chairs sitting on the side of the road.
It's like a parade
on the highway. But it was going 55 and 60 miles an hour, so every little move, I mean, it just flew.
Yeah.
So what you seen was what really happened. So when we got done with the match, Dustin and I, we said, holy cow, that was one of the funnest matches we ever had. You know, we hugged each other and said, you know, thank you. And so, and I had blood all over and cow manure and you name it, I had it on me. And I ended up going home, and the next morning I got a phone call from Eric Bischoff, and he's, you know, I'm waiting for him to go, Barry, what a hell of a match. You know, you did exactly what I wanted. But he says, Barry, I got some good news, I got some bad news. He says, well, what's going on? You know, talk to me. He says, well, he says, good news is you guys had one hell of a match. He says, the bad news is fired. I said, what? I'm fired? How could I be fired if I had a good match? He said, all the towers, the people to be, they were upset because there was blood in the match. And I said, first of all, Eric, we were able to do that. And, you know, I don't think that's a very good thing to fire us from when you guys, and he says, Barry, he says, do me a favor. He says, just take the fire and leave for a little while. I'm going to bring you back.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, but Eric, it's not like you just can all of a sudden the next day you're fired and you don't do anything about it. And, you know, you're fired for no reason.
Yeah.
But I'm good with Eric. And I said, if that's what you want me to do, that's what I'm going to do. So he hired me, Mike Graham, and Rhodes. So it ended up being about 3/4 of a year later, he called me back. He says, Barry, I want to hire you back. He gave me a really nice contract. I didn't hardly work anymore. So that was the whole blacktop bully thing. And it ended way too soon. And I think we could really did some good things with it.
Yeah. And then Dustin, of course, went on to go on and become Goldust after that.
Yep.
So it actually worked out pretty well for him, you know, but...
it worked out better for him than it did for
me. Yeah.
You know.
So it seems like maybe the secret is everybody should try to have a match in the back of a semi-trailer.
But I'll tell you, it was the next day I hurt.
I can imagine.
It was a tough one.
Yeah.
So when you went back to WCW after the firing, you came back pretty much at the time of the Monday Night Wars. Monday Nitro versus Raw, back and forth, and Thunder. How crazy and hectic was that time for you, a guy that has seen and pretty much done everything, is now smack in the middle of the battle between two millionaire billionaires?
Well, it was kind of terrible for me because I was watching all these other guys, top matches and everything, and then now I'm a middle guy putting everybody over and doing everything, which I didn't mind doing, but for me to only work once a month or once every couple of months.
Yeah.
It was so hard for me to sit and watch everybody, in the game, and I'm out of the game. And it was well, I ended up quitting wrestling after that because it was just hard to not be involved in anything anymore. And those guys did an incredible job. I mean, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and Hulk, and I mean, it was unbelievable. The NWO. It's and when you really think reality, who in the world could you bring into that?
Yeah.
Those guys, you could be above those guys. So pretty much everybody in the whole territory is a middle guy besides, that group of guys, and they did an unbelievable job. And I think at that time was the first time Vince is probably thinking, "Uh-oh, what are we going to do?" You know what I mean?
And they would subsequently lose it, yeah.
Yeah, it was war, and phenomenal job those guys did.
Yeah. Well, Barry, always so great to talk to you and appreciate your insight. I've even learned stuff here today I thought I knew, but I don't know. So, best of luck to you. And well, it looks like we just.
There he is.
He's done. There he's back. Welcome back.
Phone call. Somebody called me. What do you do, right?
Dave, anything else for Barry?
Yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a blast getting to know you over all the years, and Demolition, always one of my favorite tag teams. Former GLCW tag team champions. To be fair, they've never even lost the tag titles. So, but yeah, it's always great seeing Barry, and looking forward to getting back together with you down the road, and hopefully when this whole quarantine thing is done, we can all get back together again.
Well, I'm finally getting to the point where I'm going to be retired here, so I am definitely making trips, and I want to get in the ring with Cal, and I make sure and tell Cal to take it easy on the old guy here.
Absolutely. Cal will love that.
Hey, I love you guys, and I miss you guys. I'll get in there and see you.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And I will say this, when I had the pleasure several years ago of first meeting both you and Bill, I was a little scared, to be honest with you. So, oh my God, it's Demolition. Starstruck and scared because I, again, thought I was going to get my stinking teeth kicked in. But I don't know if there are many people who are just good, great human beings as you and Bill are. And you guys have always been very great to us, and it's always been great to interact with you. And there are not enough nice guys in this business. And thank you for being one of those nice guys. It's really, really, really good.
Yeah, thank you, and stay healthy. Do the quarantine, I guess.
Exactly. That's why we're in the Fortress of Solitude.
Barry Darsow, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck to you up in Minneapolis, and we will look forward to talking to you again soon here on the Pro Wrestling Report. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Folks, always great talking to the legends in this business, and great to really launch this brand new show, Inside Story of Wrestling with Barry Darsow. So great, so good to hear the stories from the source.
And he's worked with everybody, like legit every top guy in the world of professional wrestling in one character or another.
Yeah.
From Crusher Khrushchev to Demolition Smash to Blacktop Bully to Hole in One Barry Darsow, Repo Man, he's worked them all.
Yeah, and did so brilliantly each time. Folks, thank you so much for joining us here live. Sorry we didn't get to many of your comments, but we are going to look forward to doing so when we're live with you again tomorrow. And that's for Prime Time. David, it's the final Prime Time before Wrestling Mania.
Is this the Go Home WrestleMania show tomorrow?
Tomorrow for us, it's the Go Home WrestleMania show and new additional programming tomorrow. Because it is WrestleMania weekend, so we will have Prime Time for you live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then tomorrow night, after SmackDown, a live edition of PWR Reaction, where we'll be taking your comments, questions, concerns, flashing them on the screen, talking about them. We're live with Reaction after SmackDown tomorrow night, right after it goes off the air on Fox.
We're going to go over SmackDown. So we're doing before SmackDown, we're going to watch it, and then after SmackDown, we're going to be back right here.
That's how that works. But guess what? This weekend,
yes,
we are going to be live with Reaction after WrestleMania Saturday. We'll be live with Reaction after WrestleMania Sunday. All that on Fight TV, Pro Wrestling Report, PWR 360, covering it all and bringing you, the fans, not only our opinions, but more importantly, your thoughts and your opinions as well. So be sure to tune in to all of our programming. It is our honor and pleasure that you're welcoming us into your homes or into your hands on your devices to watch us in this programming. So thanks again to Barry Darsow. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all for joining us here on Inside Story of Wrestling. David, another scoop, if you will.
Sure.
This will also be available on podcast form, this episode, and all the episodes of Inside Story of Wrestling. We got a couple of guests lined up for the future, too.
Yes, we do.
Over the next few weeks, we'll be bringing you more of these inside stories, giving you a little bit more insight from the source, the people who lived the moments, and sharing with you the firsthand stories of how it was when it was. So for that one, and for Barry Darsow, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for joining us here on Inside Story of Wrestling. We'll see you tomorrow night for Prime Time, live on